I feel as though I am drowning in all of these layers and layers of fabrics, being swallowed up by the sea of dresses. It's a ridiculous thought, because there really aren't that many dresses. Really, I'm not sure why I'm feeling this way, because I could just shop and look for dresses all day long. But then, I haven't found a suitable dress all day so far, and right now I just want to go home and sleep. But Mother insists that my sisters and I find our dresses today. I don't know why she is so persistent. Mr. Eiffel's party is not until next week Thursday, but then again, Mother does like to be ahead of things and ready for everything, which can be a bit much sometimes, but we've learned to live with it, my sisters and my brother and I. "Maren, darling, what about this one?" Mother asks me, pointing to a light-coloured dress. It is beautiful, and I almost say yes, but then I remember something. No, I can't get that one. Abigail got that same dress made just last week. She told me she's wearing it to Mr. Eiffel's party. I tell her. "And you can't wear the same thing as your best friend?" Mother asks. "Of course not. That would be ridiculous. What will people think?" I exclaim as I look at more dresses. "That you and your friend just want to wear the same thing?" Mother replies calmly. "Mother, that is something children do, not nearly grown young women," I tell her. "All right, darling. Keep looking, then," Mother instructs me, and proceeds to look at more dresses. "Oh, Mother, what about this one?" Charlotte, my older sister by almost 2 years, asks. The dress she is holding looks a bit low-cut and revealing. Really, it is a bit ridiculous. "Really, Charlotte, you don't have to try to impress the boys all the time. Why don't you try something that's a little less mature for once?" I say to her, acting a bit snotty. But really, who needs to wear a dress like that? And every time, to every party? "Be quiet, Maren. I'd like to see you wear a dress like this." "Oh, wait, that's right. You can't. There's nothing there," she remarks, pointing at my chest. My chest may have been a bit flatter than hers, but it was not non-existent. There was, in fact, something there. I must correct you on your false statement. I do have something there, but unlike someone, I don't show them off for the world to see. Charlotte just glares at me and turns back to Mother. "Mother, what do you think of this one?" she asks again. "I think it is a bit too low-cut, darling. Maybe try another one?" Mother tells Charlotte. In response, Charlotte whines, and when she turns and sees me smirking at her, she glares and goes back to find another dress. I myself am getting a bit worried about finding a dress. When I turn the corner of one of the stands and I see it, the dress I was looking for. It is a beautiful shade of lavender with an elegant empire waist. The top is beaded and has a few jewels across the neckline. There is a ribbon that comes under the bust line, and the fabric drops down from it in ripples. It is full length, obviously, and was absolutely stunning. "Mother, come quick! You must see this!" I exclaim. My mother comes around the corner, and I hear her take a sharp intake of breath. "Oh, Maren, that is beautiful, absolutely beautiful," she breathes. "Why don't you ask someone to take your measurements for it?" She tells me. So I go over to one of the young women who is working and ask her to help me. "Of course," she agrees. As she stretches her measuring tape around my waist, she asks me some questions. "So, what style were you thinking of getting?" I pointed to the dress and told her I wanted that one. "Really?" she asks, with a slight smirk playing on her lips. "That is a beautiful dress. It's the only one we were able to get. Straight from the shops of Paris," she informs me, as she makes more measurements. Actually, because it is from Paris, the material wasn't able to be sent here, so we only have this dress. Most girls get very disappointed when they hear that, but I think you... she was saying, but suddenly stopped. "Oh my," she whispers, and puts her hand to her mouth. What is it? Is there something wrong?" I ask her, suddenly very worried. What if I couldn't get this dress made? Forget that, I couldn't get it made. What if I couldn't get the dress at all? "Oh, no, there's nothing wrong, miss. It's just that your measurements are exactly the same as the dress," she said, sounding quite astonished. "This just hasn't happened before. I am not sure what to do," she stammers. "Let me go ask someone," she remarks, and runs off. So I am left here, in front of the mirror, alone with my thoughts. What is going on? What does she mean she wasn't sure what to do? Can't I just have the dress? I was getting really quite annoyed when I saw the girl walking back with what I could only assume was her manager. "Miss, I am so sorry for the misunderstanding. As I'm sure Laura already told you, this dress is from Paris, and is the only one of its kind. We were not able to get the material for it, so therefore we cannot make more. But seeing as your measurements do fit the dress, would you like to try it on?" The woman asks me. The girl, Laura, looks at her, baffled, then looks at the dress, and looks at me, and looks back at the woman. "Well, if you will allow it, I would love to, yes." I started being quite baffled myself. "Of course I will allow it, my dear. If I wouldn't have asked you, would I?" she asks, sounding quite amused. "No, I suppose not." I smile, and allow the girls to fix me into the dress. We arrive home from London a little before 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The four of us girls and mother climb from the car and to the doors. "Good day, madam. Did you find everything you were looking for?" Carson, the butler, asks as we walk up the path. "Yes, Carson, thank you. I believe we did." Mother smiles and walks past Carson and through the doors. All of us girls walk past Carson as well, and when I pass him, I smile, just as my mother had. He gives me a wink and a smile in response. Once we are inside, we all make our way to our rooms, which are on the second floor. As I ascend the stairs, I observe the servants going about their duties. I'm glad I'm not a servant. It seems like an awful lot of work. Always running back and forth and making sure everything is perfect. I don't think I'd be very cut out for that. "Hello, Mary," I address my maid as I walk into my room. I take off my gloves and hat and throw them on my dresser. "Hello, miss. Did you find a dress for Mr. Eifel's party?" Mary asks me. She is always quite interested in my day's events. Yes. Oh, Mary, you won't believe it. It's absolutely beautiful. The most wonderful dress I've ever seen," I exclaim, and explain to her what it looks like. "James should be bringing it up any minute now." "That sounds very wonderful, miss." Mary smiled, and went to put something away in the bathroom. I smile back as I watch her go. I jump as there is suddenly a knock at the door. "That must be James!" I exclaim, and jump from the bed and run to the door. I fling it open and, as I expected, see James standing there with a garment bag. "I believe this is yours, miss." He smiles and hands it to me. "Thank you, James," I say, and smile back at him. He starts to leave, but I stop him before he gets too far. "Did you want to see it? I was going to try it on for Mary, but you can come in too if you want," I offer. "I really should be getting downstairs and help prepare dinner," he says, ever so loyal. "But if you insist," he complies when I pout at him. I smile and let him in my room. I tell Mary what is happening and then go to the bathroom to put the dress on. It is a bit difficult, but with a few grunts, I manage to tie it in the back. When I finish, I step out into the room and show Mary and James. I hear them both take breaths in. "Oh, miss, you look stunning," Mary exclaims, smiling from ear to ear. I knew she would love it. I look over at James, who is smiling at me. "You look very nice, miss. That suits you very well," he remarks. I do like James. He's probably my favourite footman. "Thank you," I reply and smile at both of them. I turn and look at myself in the mirror. I do look stunning. I hope everyone else thinks so. Today is Thursday, the day of the Eiffel Tower opening and Mr. Eiffel's party. If I'm honest, I'm kind of nervous. I'm not sure why. I mean, why should I be nervous? It's not my party. But I usually have butterflies in my stomach the day of a big party, so I don't think I should be worried. We arrived here yesterday and stayed overnight at the house we own in Paris. Now I'm sitting in front of a mirror waiting for Mary to finish doing my hair. I won't be wearing my evening dress to the tower's opening, obviously. It is an evening dress, after all. Mary has put me in a very nice, light blue day dress. It's probably one of my favourite day dresses. "All right, miss, I believe I'm finished. What do you think?" she asks, as she finishes tucking a few strands of hair. "Oh, Mary, it's lovely," I tell her. She has put my hair in curls, then twisted it behind my head into some kind of knot, with little tendrils hanging on the side of my face. It looks like I'm going to the party and not the tower opening. Oh no, this is nothing compared to what I plan on doing for the party, Mary replies slyly. I give her a questioning look, but she just smiles and walks away to get my gloves and my hat. When I arrive at the library, I see everyone else is waiting, but then I realize there is one person missing. It was Charlotte, of course, needing to be absolutely perfect. I mean, what if there were boys there? She just has to look just right. Please, she is so ridiculous. I see we're waiting for Charlotte. Again, I remark as I walk over to a bench and sit down, knowing Charlotte would be at least another 5 minutes. My sisters giggle at my remark, along with my father. Mother, however, does not seem particularly impressed. "Maren, you should not speak of your sister that way. I'm sure she will be down in a minute." Mother scolds and returns to the book she is reading. I look over at my brother, Stefan, and see he is watching me. He gives me a wink and I smile back. We are twins, he being only 3 minutes older than me, and so we know each other pretty well. We can usually tell when the other is thinking and how they're feeling. It's rather nice, actually. I'm glad to have him around. Sometimes I'm not sure what I would do without him. Sorry, everyone. Alice accidentally messed up my hair, and so she had to start over. Charlotte apologizes as she finally walks in. Anyway, I'm here now, so we can leave. Who does she think she is? The leader? Oh my goodness. Sometimes she is just so arrogant. Now, Charlotte. Don't be too jumpy. We still have a couple minutes, Father says as he puts his newspaper down and looks up at all of us. Now, I wanted to address some things before we leave to the opening. You all must be on your best behavior today, and we were specially invited by Alexander himself, and will probably be some of the first to go up the tower. I want all of you to be respectful to everyone you meet and don't be rude. Show that you are who everyone thinks you are. Father is telling us when he is interrupted by James. The car is here, sir. James informs Father. Thank you, James. We'll be out in a minute. Father smiles at James and then resumes his speech with the rest of us. Please remember your manners today. Your mother and I are counting on you. Now, shall we be on our way? He asks us, and we all smile and nod. I get up from my perch on the bench and make my way over to Stefan. Are you as excited as I am? I ask him. I don't think you could possibly be more excited than me, he remarks, and we laugh. Really, we're probably both equally excited. I don't think he could be more excited than me, nor I more than him, although he doesn't show his excitement outright like I do. I can still tell he is just bursting on the inside. I smile up at him as we walk through the door. Have fun, kids, I hear someone say. I turn my head to see James smiling at us. Both of us smile back at him. Thank you, James, we say in unison. Do try and stay out of trouble while we're gone. Stefan smirks, always the joker. We shall do our best. The same to you, sir. James smirks back and turns back to the door. James is more of a brother than a servant for Stefan and I. We have a rather friendly relationship that, if Mother knew about, she would definitely scold us for. Apparently, it is not proper to have friendships with those of a lower class than you, especially servants. I just don't understand. It seems rather ridiculous to me. They're humans just like us. They just happen to have a different financial situation. Anyway, there's no need to bother myself with these thoughts. I have more important matters to think about. Paris is absolutely beautiful. I can't exactly put it into words. The tower adds even more beauty to the city. It is so grand and magnificent, it makes you feel so small. I can't wait to tell Mr. Eiffel later how beautiful it is. As we get out of the car, we are immediately swarmed by people. So many people. I've never seen this many people in one place in my life. I turn to find Stefan and grab his arm so I don't get lost. There are so many people here, I say to my brother, absolutely taken away. He seems quite baffled as well, only nodding in response. We wait for our parents to go ahead of us, and we follow them over to the tower. I notice Charlotte, who is smiling at every boy who happens to look her way. I can't help but roll my eyes, and I hear Stefan laugh. By now, we were at the base of the tower, and it looms above us like some huge giant. At least it provides a nice shelter from the sun. Even with a hat, you get hot with the sun beaming down on you. I'm going to go walk around, Stefan says. Do you want to come along? No, that's all right. I'll stay here. I smile at him. He smiles back and turns to go. He's always loved to explore. After standing for a while, I decide that I will go walk around a little bit. As I walk, I see couples holding hands and talking. Some people are having a photo taken, and there are parents trying to calm down their children who are running around. I smile to myself as I watch a couple children chase each other around one of the legs of the tower, remembering how my brother and I used to chase each other in the yard. I am about to turn around when all of a sudden someone runs into me, knocking me to the ground. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Please, let me help you, someone above me says. I feel hands grab my arms and pull me up. The hands move to grab mine and grip them rather hard. Are you all right, miss? I'm so sorry, I didn't see you. I'm eventually able to see the person who is talking to me, as my eyes had started to water. The boy, actually, he is more of a young man, is looking at me. He can't be much older than me, maybe 18 or 19. He has longer, sort of shaggy blonde, wavy hair that hangs in his face a little. His eyes, a deep, rich brown, are staring into mine with worry. I realize I should probably answer him. Yes, I'm fine, thank you. Just a scratch on my elbow, I think, but I'm fine, I say and wipe off my cheeks, because it was wet. I must have started crying. What is wrong with me? Are you sure? You were crying? Oh, no, I wasn't crying. Just a few tears from the shock. Just a few misplaced tears. I smile at him. He laughs and shakes his head. I'm sure. Anyway, are you sure you're all right? I mean, I ran into you awfully hard. It must have hurt, he says apologetically. Yes, I'm quite all right. Thank you. I look at him questioningly. Oh, Thomas. Thomas Nichols, he informs me. Well, thank you for helping me, Thomas, I say, and then he gives me a questioning look. Oh, right. Moran Elizabeth, but you can just call me Moran, I tell him. Well, Moran Elizabeth, it is lovely to make your acquaintance. He smiles, taking my hand and kissing it softly. It is a bit strange, though, because he looks as if he is of a lower class with his clothing, but he acts as if he is from a higher class. I've never seen anyone do that before. I smile at him, and I'm just about to ask him when I see my family walking over to where Mr. Eiffel is standing. Oh my, I have to be leaving. My family is getting ready to go up the tower. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I can see them now getting ready to go. Oh, will we meet again? Thomas asks me. He smirks and lets go of my hand. Yes, I believe so. I respond and smirk back. I leave him standing there and hurry to my family, who are now very ready to start going up. I run up next to Stefan, quite out of breath. He looks down at me and raises an eyebrow. Where were you? He asks. Nowhere. I smile and turn forward. He gives me a look, shakes his head, and turns forward as well. Did you see Abigail? My brother asks. I whip my head to look at him. He is smiling. She's here? I thought she was just... I trail off as I realize he was just messing with me. I smack his arm and he starts laughing. You are terrible, I accuse him, but can't help smiling myself. Suddenly, our parents and sisters are moving forward towards the steps. Steph and I catch up and follow them, moving up the steps. I can hear Charlotte and a couple of my other sisters complaining about having to go up the steps. I don't mind it, though. I find it refreshing, especially not being able to do this kind of thing regularly, needing to be a lady and all of that. Climbing all of these steps, feeling my legs burn, it feels amazing. I love it. We finally reach the top, and I'm breathless, not only from all of the steps, which are a minor contributor, but also because of the view. It is simply breathtakingly stunning. I can see everything from up here, or so it seems. I'm probably only seeing Paris, but it seems as if I am overlooking the world. It makes me feel rather small, actually, seeing the world from this high up. I must have been standing here for a long time, because I suddenly notice all the people up here that weren't there before. They must have been let up shortly after us. That they're up here so quickly. I look around to find my family and see them on the opposite side of the flat that I am. I'm about to make my way over to them when I feel a hand touch my arm. Surprised, I turn to see Thomas smiling at me. Why, hello again. I smile back at him. Hello. I'm not following you, I promise, he assures me, causing me to laugh. They just allowed some of the rest of us to come up, and when I saw you, I wanted to come over. I hope that's all right, he says slowly. I couldn't help but smile at him. Of course it's all right. I would love to be accompanied, I say. He smiles, and we walk over to a balcony together and look over Paris. It sure is a beautiful city, I comment. Yes, it sure is. I could sit up here and look at this for ages. I've never even imagined that I would be able to be up here. When I heard it was going to open, I thought it was just going to be open to the rich, upper-class people. Not people like me. But when they announced it would be open to everyone, I knew that I would be here opening day. He says, almost as if speaking to himself. Then he looks at me and notices the sad look in his eyes, in my eyes. I'm sorry. For what? You haven't done anything. No, but you must see me as one of those rich upper-class people who get all the privileges. I'm sorry. I apologize and look at my hands. Hey, Thomas says and takes my hands, forcing me to look at him. I've only just met you, but I don't think you're the typical rich upper-class person. After all, you are talking to me, aren't you? That's more than most people do. He assures me. You don't have to be sorry. All right, I comply and smile at him. He smiles back, and we turn back towards the balcony and overlook Paris. We talk for what must have been 20 minutes, when I feel someone put their hand on my shoulder. Moraine, it's time to go. I hear. The voice is Stefan's, beckoning me once again. We need to get ready for the party, he tells me. Okay, I'll be with you in a minute. Stefan nods and looks at Thomas curiously, and then heads off to the steps. I'm sorry, but I must be going now. But I've had a lovely time, really. Thank you, I say. Thomas gives me a small smile and starts to say something as I hear my name being called. That's my mother. I need to go. Wait, can I see you before you leave? Back to England? He asks. I don't know. We're leaving tomorrow. I don't think I'll have time to meet you. I apologize. I really wish I could. How about tonight? I'm going to Mr. Eiffel's party. I don't think my mother would just let me leave. Then don't tell her. Just make an excuse to go and come meet me here. It wouldn't be that difficult, he promises. I look over at where my family is, and see Stefan looking over at us. I turn back to Thomas quickly and look at him. His eyes are so beautiful and pleading. All right, I'll try, but I don't know how I'll be able to stay. It might not even work, I say hesitantly. That's all right. I'll be here at 8 o'clock. If you don't come within half an hour's time, I'll know. It's fine, but I would like to see you again, he says, and takes my hand and kisses it gently once again. And I you, I smile. Goodbye now, Thomas. Goodbye, Moraine Elizabeth. He smirks and lets go of my hand. I reluctantly leave him and go over to where my family is waiting. Ah, Moraine, there you are. I believe we are ready to go now, Father remarks, and we make our way to descend the stairs. Who was that boy? Stefan asks me quietly, so no one else will hear. Just someone I met, I whisper back. He raises an eyebrow, but says no more. It takes a while to reach the bottom, but not nearly as long as it did to reach the top. When we get to the fountain, I see that our cars are already waiting for us. I wonder how long they've been sitting there. I climb into one with Father, Charlotte, and Stefan. So did you three enjoy yourselves? Father wonders of us. Yes, we all say in unison. Good, good. Now for the real fun. He winks at us. We smile in return and wait anxiously for the following hours. I feel absolutely beautiful right now. With my dress on and my hair looking so lovely, Mary did a wonderful job. The corset is a bit unbearable, but I'm used to it. I couldn't have asked for anything better. We're now heading to Mr. Eiffel's house, and to be honest, I'm kind of nervous. Not just about the party itself, but also sneaking away to meet Thomas. How can I even think that this will work? Oh my goodness, what if someone sees me leaving and goes to tell Mother? What would happen then? I'm so worried I don't even know if I can do it. But I do want to see Thomas again before I go, because I won't be able to do it tomorrow. It will have to be tonight. I'm just going to have to not worry about it and just do it. We finally arrive at a huge house, aglow with light streaming out of its windows that I can only assume is Mr. Eiffel's. It's so big. Of course, I knew it would be a big house, but I never thought it would be this huge. Granted, it's not as big as our estate back in England, but then not many houses are. Anyway, we get out of the car, Stefan before me, and I take his hand as I step out. It's quite magnificent, isn't it? Stefan whispers to me. I know in my head, my eyes big with astonishment. It is quite beautiful. You can see the house and its sides lined with trees, and then, in all its glory, the Eiffel Tower can be seen behind the house, looming above it from a distance. It is indeed very marvelous. We make our way to the doors, which are open and have men who are greeting people as they walk in. Ah, Torrance, it's good to see you, lad. How have you been? Father says to one of the men, clapping him on the back. They exchange small talk and we walk in. The inside is just as grand, if not more, than the outside. The ceiling is lined with chandeliers and the floor is exquisitely lined with rugs. Everyone that was gathered in the main room seemed so happy and joyous, holding their champagne and laughing. I couldn't help but smile myself. One of the servants walking around with glasses walks by me and offers me one. I'm very tempted to take one, and I realize that, after all, this is a party. So I take one and thank the man. I take a sip of my champagne and savor it in my mouth, moving it over my tongue. It is so delicious. I wish Mother and Father would allow us to drink at home. Only during house parties do we get to have a glass of wine or champagne. I start to walk around and I notice Abigail, looking ever so elegant, on the stairwell talking to a young man. I wave to her and she sees me and smiles. She waves me over, but I frown and mouth to her that I can't. She frowns and mouths why. I point to my mother, not sure what else to do, and roll my eyes. She laughs and rolls her eyes too. We say goodbye to each other, and so I don't seem like I was lying, I walk over to my mother. She's talking with what I guess is one of her friends. Maren, darling, we were just speaking of you. You've met Marie, haven't you? Mother informs me. I believe so, once when I was little. How do you do? I ask her, smiling. I am well, thank you, Mrs. Eiffel says in her lovely French accent. How are you? I am splendid, thank you. I was just admiring everything. You have put to a lot of work into getting this party together for everyone. It is so lovely. I gush. Oh, thank you. So happy you are enjoying yourself. She smiles. Thank you, Mrs. Eiffel. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm going to walk around. I'll see you later, Mother, Mrs. Eiffel. I curtsy to them both and turn to leave. I can hear them snickering as I walk away and smile. Mothers are too much sometimes. Maren, over here! I hear someone yell. The voice is unmistakably Abigail's. I smile and turn toward her. You must come here, it's urgent, she insists, and motions for me to come. I laugh and make my way over to her. Only when I'm about 4 meters away do I see what the so urgent matter is. She is standing next to a tall, rather handsome young man with slick-back brown hair and beautiful, icy blue eyes. I'm momentarily taken aback. I've never seen eyes that color before. I'm taken out of my trance by Abigail's voice. Maren, are you listening? She asks, sounding a bit annoyed. Oh, yes, I am. I must have blanked out for a moment. I blush, feeling the young man's eyes on me. Oh, I know what you mean. Anyway, I was just saying how absolutely lovely your dress is. It's beautiful. But anyway, I called you over here because I want you to meet someone. Maureen, this is Pierre. Pierre, Maureen Elizabeth. Abigail introduces us. I give her a look for calling me by my middle name, and she smirks at me. It's a pleasure to meet you, Pierre, I say, getting lost in his eyes once more. And you, he tells me, his French accent thick and incredible. We talk for a long time, until I suddenly realize what time it is. I look around to find a clock. When I see one, the time makes me panic a little. It's 8:15. I suddenly get this overwhelming sensation of panic. Oh my, Abigail, I'm so sorry, but I have to leave now. It was so nice talking with you, Pierre. I hope we see each other again. I say hurriedly. Maureen, what's going on? Are you all right? Abigail asks, worried. She starts to grab my arm, but I start to walk away. Yes, I'm all right. I'm just a bit dizzy suddenly. It must have been the champagne. I'm going to find a quiet bench somewhere. I lie, hoping I'll get away with it. I'll come with you, Abigail says and starts to walk with me. But I hold up my hand for her to stop. No, really, I'll be fine. You should stay with Pierre. Keep him company. I'd hate for you to lose him, I joke, smirking. Oh, stop, we've only just met. She smirks back. I raise my eyebrows and shrug, and she rolls her eyes. I wave to her and turn away, making my way back to the hallway. Thank the Lord I made it out of there. I sure hope I make it to Thomas on time. I arrive at the tower just at 8:30, and I can see the shadow of a person. I start walking to the place where Thomas told me to find him. When I see someone start to walk away, that has to be Thomas, I start to run as fast as my shoes will allow me and yell his name. I see him turn his head in my direction and then start running towards me. Relieved, I slow down and catch my breath. Are you all right? Thomas asks me as he puts his hands on my shoulders and helps me upright. I nod and he smiles, looking relieved. I started to think you wouldn't show, so I started to leave, unsure if I should stay or go. But when I heard you yell my name, I was relieved. I'm so glad you came. I wouldn't let you down like that, I assure him, still breathless from that little sprint. He laughs and puts an arm on my shoulders. Shall we? He asks, and motions towards the tower. Of course, I nod, and we make our way to the tower steps. We finally reach the top and walk over to the balcony, hand in hand. The view is even more spectacular at night, with the street lamps and the house lights. And as a special bonus, there is a full moon tonight. That just makes everything that much more beautiful. It is magnificent, isn't it? Thomas asks, seeing the awe on my face. Yes, it is. It's absolutely lovely, I comment quietly, feeling as though if I talk any louder, I'll ruin it somehow. Thomas smiles and takes my hand, holding it gently. I like it when he holds my hands. It's somehow calming and soothing. I look out over Paris, taking it in its greatness with all that I am, wanting to remember this moment. Eventually, Thomas and I start talking, and our conversation moves from one thing to another. At some point, we start laughing hysterically about something, and by the time we have finally calmed down, we don't even remember what we were laughing about. Then Thomas asks me about my family, and about myself in general. So I tell him everything I can about my family, mostly of Stefan and Charlotte, which makes him laugh. What about you? Where is your family? Thomas gives me a small, sad smile and looks down. I don't really have a family. I mean, I do, but it's not anything like yours. He laughs softly, but it's more of a bitter laugh. I frown as he continues. My family is back in England. and I doubt if they even know that I'm still alive. They sent me here to be an apprentice to a smith, but I abandoned that a while ago. Now I have a job as a servant for one of the wealthy here in Paris. Anyhow, my mother and father never really cared about me. My older brother and I basically grew up on our own, what with our parents always gone and everything. And the funny thing is, no one seemed to know about it. I never really understood that part. How could nobody see that these two kids are trying to keep themselves alive, while their parents are always gone? Anyway, my family means nothing to me anymore. Just as I don't mean anything to them, he says bitterly. I can see the pain in his eyes, and I feel so sorry for him. When he looks at me, his face softens, and he takes my hands again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you that way. I shouldn't have told you all of that. No, I'm not scared, I tell him and take his hands in mine this time. I'm so sorry. For what? You didn't do anything. It's not your fault, Moiraine. I know, but no one should have to go through that. It's terrible, I say, rubbing his hands with my fingers. You get used to it eventually, he says softly, watching my hands in his. We sit there like that, silent for a little bit. I turn to look over the balcony and close my eyes, soaking everything in. I can hear all sorts of sounds from down on the streets, and birds in the trees chirping. When I open my eyes and turn back towards Thomas, I am shocked at how close he is, almost close enough to kiss me. I'm even more shocked when he does kiss me. I'm sorry, Thomas apologizes sheepishly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Sorry, he stutters, not meeting my eyes. Don't be sorry. It was nice, I tell him, trying to make him look at me. Hey, I say, and put my hand on his cheek, forcing him to look at me. Don't be sorry. He looks up at me and smiles softly. I smile back. Do you know what time it is? I ask him. It must be around 10 o'clock, he informs me. Oh, I should probably be getting back soon, so that my family doesn't end up leaving without me, I say, and reluctantly stand up. Thomas gets up and takes my hand silently, and we walk to the stairs. When we get to the bottom, we stand by one of the legs of the tower and talk for a little while longer. Suddenly, we hear the sound of feet falling heavily on the ground, and then someone shouts my name. Stefan? I say as I recognize his voice. Stefan, I'm over here. Moiraine! Stefan exclaims, breathless. He must have run the whole way here. Thank God. He breathes and bends down, his hands on his knees, trying to recover his breath. I didn't know if I would find you here, but I had to try. Stefan looks up then, suddenly angry. Moiraine, why did you do that? You scared Mother half to death when she couldn't find you. She had everyone start looking for you. I was scared out of my wits until I realized you were probably here. By God, Moiraine. I'm sorry. I apologize softly. At some time I started to cry, and I could feel the tears running down my cheeks. Stefan must have noticed, because he came over and put an arm around me. I fell gratefully into his arm. It's okay, don't cry. You just had me worried. You're okay now, he whispers and smooths my hair. Eventually I calm down enough to explain everything to Stefan, and he doesn't seem too mad. He looks up from me and over at Thomas, who is standing awkwardly and out 2 meters away. You're Thomas? The young man Moiraine was talking to earlier? Yes, sir. Please don't call me sir. I'm younger than you, for God's sake. Please, call me Stefan. Stefan laughs and steps toward Thomas and shakes his hand. Thank you for taking care of my sister. It was my pleasure, Thomas responds, and they let go of each other's hands. Now, Maren, I think we should be going, so that Mother doesn't get even more worried, Stefan says to me and starts to take my arm. Wait, let me say goodbye first, I plead. Stefan looks to me and then to Thomas and back again. All right, I'll be waiting over here, he says and points to a spot about 7 meters away. I nod to him and turn and walk away. I look to Thomas, and not being able to stop myself, run and hug him. I wish I didn't have to leave, I say into his chest. I know, me too, he whispers into my hair. We stayed that way for a little while. I know. How about you write? We could send each other letters to keep in touch, he recommends. That's a good idea. Yes, I think we should do that, I say and pull away slightly to wipe my eyes. I'll write you first thing when I get back to England. I promise. All right, Thomas says and hugs me again. I hear Stefan pacing around, waiting for me. I should go now, I say, and pull back. Before I go, I stand on my tiptoes and kiss Thomas one last time. I pull away and smile at him. Thank you. No, thank you, he smiles. I laugh softly and walk away, dropping his hand reluctantly. All right, Stefan, I'm ready now. All right, let's go, he says, and I take his arm. I look back at Thomas, who is standing with his hands in his pockets, watching us. I wave to him and blow him a kiss. He waves back. I smile and turn forward. I let Stefan lead me back to the Eiffel's house, and wonder what Mother will say when we arrive.